Okay, let's start our psychedelic poster. So here I am in Photoshop, create new, and I'm going to make a document that is uh, 11 wide. Actually, I have one here. I already did. 17 hot is backwards. 11 wide and 17 inches high. It was set to inches, not pixels. If it's pixels, that will be a very small document. Okay, 11 by 17 at 300 pixels per inch. RGB, it's going to be white. Create. Okay, so there we are. And I'm going to just make a solid background at the moment. And to do, I could always just go edit fill and fill it with whatever my foreground and background color is. That's one way to do it. Or I could go to my adjustments area here, adjustment layers, and I could do solid color, and I can choose some solid color to fill it with. Something that's going to sear your eyeballs. Okay, so, and then if we want to change it again, we just double click on that and change the background color. So that's one way to do it. And then, so we're just getting set up with our shapes and stuff we can use, fonts and everything like that. Now, if you go to down here, you might want to use shapes somewhere in your design, just like vector custom shapes. Okay, so if you go to custom shapes here, all right, and then up here, I've changed mine, but you're going to see this used to have, I don't know what they're thinking at Adobe, but this used to have just a bunch of useful shapes that, like stars and various geometric shapes or random things that you could just use. And they changed it to trees, wild animals, boats, and flowers. 4 things that nobody needs. I don't know. So I had to look around and I discovered that if you go to the shape palette, there's a way to get the original shapes back and a whole lot more. Okay, just so you have like geometric shapes to work with. So if you go to the window, okay, that's where all your palettes are, and then shapes. Okay, and before I was looking for this, I confess that I never even knew there was a shapes palette. I mean, it's something I never used. Don't know where it came from. But anyway, you probably have just the top 4 here. And if you go to the shapes palette menu, the little thing there, you can say legacy shapes and more. Okay, and it'll give you a whole bunch of things. 219 shapes is looks like a bunch of stuff. I don't know everything that's in there. And here is all legacy default shapes. It looks like everything from every year. And here down here is a bunch of just more like what they used to have at the end. Things that were kind of useful. Okay. So anyway, I just loaded up this one here. And then if I go and just, draw something, I can make something like that. Let me zoom out a little bit on that. Control T to scale it some more. Definitely you could use that as a background of a psychedelic poster or something. And I could change the color, but let's see, can I actually change just like this? Yeah. So that could be useful, right? When you look at psychedelic posters, I think that I was poking around at them and I think I saw one that had this has sort of a skinny radial thing around it. I think I saw a Jimi Hendrix poster that had something like that behind it. This one does. Anyway, where am I? Let me get back to Photoshop. So that's just so you can have these shapes if you want to use them for any purpose, okay? And then getting some good fonts. You probably don't have any really psychedelic looking fonts on your computer, so maybe we need to find some good looking fonts, So I just Googled psychedelic fonts and I find some stuff at FontSpace, and this 1001 fonts, or maybe I thought that was called 1001freefonts.com. Maybe that's what it's called. But anyway, I've used that site before to download stuff, so I'm going to look there. Interestingly, if you do a search for psychedelic fonts on this website, I think this is the one I was using, it only finds ones that have it in its name. So the Google search, maybe and under font categories, I don't think there is psychedelic. So anyway, let's move myself off there. So here's a bunch of psychedelic fonts, and a lot of them just look kind of, oh yeah. So I kind of like this one. So if you just go and download, you can make a donation or click the heart thing if you wish. All right. So actually did it already. So there it is. Okay. I'll do it anyway. And then show in folder. So to install the font, you have to unzip it, right? So I'm just going to right click on the font. If you're on a Mac computer, this will be somewhat different, but I think you can figure out how to unzip something. I'm going to do extract here, and let's see, where is it? All right, here. So here's the folder it made, and here's some kind of a user's agreement, which I'm sure we're not violating by doing a student project. So we just right click on the font. True type font, TTF, and go to install, or install for all users. Either one would work, I think. And let's see, what was it called? JMH psychedelic. Okay. I'm going to get rid of this thing at the moment. All right, and let's see if we have it. And there it is. Okay. Lorem ipsum. All right. So you can get some cool fonts that way. All right. Now, I guess so. You want your poster to have, just like designing a logo, right? You want it to have type and some kind of imagery. Let me get back to where were we here? Cool type and some imagery of some kind. Probably a person. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. And when you, I mean, like if you Google psychedelic poster, they're not all, you're not going to find all posters from the 60s. You're going to find other stuff kind of in that style. But generally speaking, they were silk screen prints, right? Often in this bright fluorescent, black light ink. And so I don't think that this is a rule that you really have to stick to, but you might want to, just to keep this, because it's easier to keep the style together, is just try to do it with 3 colors. Like this example here, it's blue, this green color, and red, right? And or black, white, and yellow. They did have, you could do gradients with screen prints. I used to be a screen printer a long time ago. And kind of like this one, where you'd have to put out, like, I forget how we did it exactly, but we would make a mixture of ink, and then when you drag the squeegee thing across, it presses the ink through the screen, it would make a blend. I honestly, it was a long time ago. So anyway, so what you might want to do to get started is think about it, and maybe you could just draw across some lines or something like that. If I just went to my regular paintbrush, I could draw, just to try to kind of figure out the flow of where sometimes that might be helpful to just figure it out instead of start putting elements up there first thing. So, and then I would, after I had everything in, I would just delete that layer. So there's two techniques we want to figure out. One is how to distort the type so it goes, so it follows the directions we want it to go in, and how to make the people look like they would fit into a silkscreen type piece. Okay, so usually the people are just done in one or two colors, and sometimes they're very. Why do I keep clicking on that? Let's see the doors. Just looking for examples. Jimi Hendrix. Oh, here's the one that had that shape in the background I was talking about. It's just like if you use that shape I had with a twist on there, and then there's a bunch of dots on the outside. Oh, but this is a good example. So see how they made his face into just like two colors, red and black. All right, so there's ways we can do that. All right, so this one here's a good example of kind of crappy type. I mean, they're trying, it looks like just they distorted the type and they made it kind of a cool looking face treatment there, but there's not enough structure to the design. The type is kind of like, it's not all integrated, like a better design. It's all somebody thought about every aspect of it, and it's much more screwed together and constructed. Okay. Anyway, so let's look at distorting the type first. Okay. So I have a piece of text here. Okay. And there's a few ways that you can make. By the way, you don't have to make it like certain colors are really like hard to look at, particularly on a computer. You don't have to do that. But anyway, so to distort the type, how about black? That was easy to see. There's different ways to do it, but if I go to Edit, Transform, Warp, that's probably going to be the best. I'm just thinking about other ones. Yeah, I think Warp is going to give you everything you want, right? Let's see here. Maybe that's not what I want. Sorry, I forgot where I put this. Do I have to rasterize the layer? I don't think so. I could have sworn. All right, let me just kill this right now, and then I'll come back. And I was just doing this the other day, and now I've forgotten where I put it. All right, next video.